The photobiomodulation is basically the science of using light at low intensities. It could be a sunlight, it could be any kind of lights, but the light which modulates the body responses. So if you, for example, have inability to sleep, it may help you to regulate your sleep pattern, and then you would be able to go back and sleep. Yes, the light has impact on the body. When you talk about neuromodulation, it's to activate your nerve endings, which typically lives in your skin.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the Champions Mojo podcast, where we bring you valuable interviews and topics to help you live well and swim well. Topics that are especially interesting to master swimmers or anyone striving to perform better in the pool or in life. I'm your host, Kelly Pallas. Today's guest is a true trailblazer in modern healing, and you are going to want to stick around to hear about some science-backed innovations for therapies that will make us recover faster and live healthier. Our guest today is Dr. Zulia Frost. She began her career as a traditional medical doctor following the familiar path of charts, checklists, and protocols until a devastating car accident changed everything for her. That experience became her turning point, revealing the body's extraordinary ability to heal when given the right support. With over 30 years of experience bridging Eastern and Western medicine, Dr. Frost has become one of the world's leading experts in photobiomodulation, neuromodulation, and energy medicine. As the co-founder and clinical director of Recharge Health, she's helping thousands reclaim their vitality through light-based, non-invasive therapies. And she's on a mission to make these science-backed innovations accessible to everyone. And I want to share one of the main reasons I wanted to have Dr. Frost on the show is because she's a true expert in red light therapy, a powerful recovery tool for athletes. And I personally have been using red light therapy myself for years, and I've experienced firsthand how transformative it can be. This is an evolving science that's gaining traction with athletes and health professionals around the world. And today we have the perfect guest to help us understand how it works and what the latest research reveals and how we can use light to recover, heal, and perform at our best. I'm so excited to have Dr. Zulia Frost on the show. Welcome to the show, Dr. Frost.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for inviting me. I look forward to sharing with my knowledge.
I know you are a globetrotter, Dr. Frost. Right now, where are you in this big world?
Right now, I'm in Barcelona, Spain.
You are actually with Recharge Health, which is a company out of Norway. Tell us about that.
Yes, I co-founded Recharge Health. So we actually started 7 years ago.
And in reading about you, I learned that Recharge Health is about non-invasive therapies, which you learned to lean into when you had a terrible accident yourself, which caused you a lot of pain. Could you tell us about that?
Oh my God, it's some few years ago, but the accident was actually deadly. I was so close to die, and somehow I managed to survive. And I was left with the debilitating pain because I had 3 fractures in the spine, and I was only diagnosed with 1 fracture. The other I learned that I had at later time. And also I was left with my right leg was paralyzed. So I thought I would never walk. And when you're young and you suddenly find yourself from being 100% top physical health into the prospect of being in a wheelchair for the rest of your life is not really that exciting. And so, yes, pain is one thing. Pain was at the beginning like number one issue. I struggled big time. And then, of course, it took me months and months to recover, but I still think I recovered a lot faster than other people did. Thanks to my knowledge, thanks to my body, which was very intuitive. And I designed all my exercise program, and I had a really strong will to recover. That's something we should talk as well.
I'm sure we would all love to hear about how the will to recover plays a role in our healing and recovery.
I am not great person to take much medication. I'm rather sensitive to it. I was already then looking for natural way to get my physical health back. After gaining control of the pain, what was left after the accident is that 2-3 times a week I would come when sciatica type of pain would come back, and it's really like relentless. And you feel depressed. You feel like nothing you want to do in the world. So I looked at the way how body works naturally, and I actually experienced what it's like to be a patient after being a doctor. So we swapped places, and I learned a lot from that experience. I learned that physical energy is very important. So exercise was absolutely paramount for me, but also the light, because I used to do jogs very early in the morning. I would plan to jog and meet the sunrise in front of the mountains, and you sort of worship that sunrise. You gain that healing red lights from it. And I discovered tools very early in my time, the tools which using this light, electricity, sound, which can actually potentiate your healing. And thanks to those tools, I very quickly became pain free. And then I was able to maintain my health. And once I experienced this myself, the transformation, the fact that I could do now literally everything, and I could do physical activity I couldn't dream of when I was lying in that wards in the hospital. I now feel like almost like I have to tell the world about my experience, because it was so transformative and made me look into different ways of healing and utilize the energy aspect, biophysical aspect of our body. And soon I learned that you could do a lot, and all these applications, they really quite safe. They don't have side effects. With that in mind, I practice then, of course, with patients, and patients would have tremendous fast recovery, and they would ask me why nobody was telling me about this. And that's why I feel like I have now to send a message to everyone. Let's look collectively into our physical being, not just chemical being.
I love your passion for getting this message out there. Could you explain to us some of the words from the introduction, what photobiomodulation is and neuromodulation, maybe the two differences in those specific things, and energy medicine, and how they're all connected with modalities for healing?
Yes, this is something new for people to know, but really it's straightforward. It's just it's just a jargon, scientist jargon. Yes, to put things complicated. The photobiomodulation is basically the science of using a light at low intensities. It could be a sunlight, it could be any kind of lights, but the light which modulates the body responses. So if you, for example, have inability to sleep, it may help you to regulate your sleep pattern, and then you would be able to go back and sleep. Yes, the light has impact on the body. When you talk about neuromodulation, it's to activate your nerve endings, which typically lives in your skin. Yes, So this is how the body communicates with the external world through the skin, and skin reflects everything what is inside you, but also translate any stimulus which comes from outside to your nervous system. It sends messages and say, look, there is a danger, or opposite, I am relaxed, everything is good. So if you can use any form of stimulation to activate these nerve endings, then you can control pain. You can modulate your pain responses, or beyond that, because you send message to the brain, and our mighty brain knows how to keep your body sort of in the survival range of good parameters. So you could use also sound. You can use you can create resonance pattern with sound, and you also can impact the cells. In this case, the sound energy from the sound could come and empower the cell energetic processes distantly with no, it's just physics. It works on the physical level. And of course, maybe for most people quite an alien concept, but trust me, it's been in the research for last 50 years, these modalities, and they truly work. And I know, because I've been involved in the development of the different devices and therapies, that it does work. My patients tell me as well.
Yes, and I think on a gut level, if we really listen to our bodies and our minds, what feels best, we do know that we feel great when we're on a sunny vacation or we peak a hill and see the sunrise or the sunset and listening to some beautiful sounds. Those all definitely affect us. So I'm sure that's part of the healing process. And in your research, do you use these combinations of therapy immediately, or where would you start if someone came in, say, with an acute shoulder problem or back pain or knee pain? Where would you start with them?
I would start straight there where it hurts. And why? Because the whole body is focused on that already. The whole body recognizes when you're injured. And the body is very clever. It tried to maintain balance. It tried to get you back on track as soon as possible as well. But you know what my personal discovery is, that why people not often heal very well? It's because they don't have enough energy at the physical fundamental level, because the energy is generated inside each of your cell in the organelle called mitochondria. And this mitochondria has to work all day long to produce these energy molecules called ATP. And these energy molecules, they engage in every chemical process. So if you don't have a sufficient amount of energy, the cell won't perform the healing responses. So if we manage to give and deliver this energy directly to the affected cells, just by doing this, we already potentiate the healing. And when you have energy, you heal a lot faster. And of course, you probably observe this. Children, they heal very, very quick compared to very old people. And very old people, they have decline in this mitochondria. They have less number of mitochondria. They have more toxic and polluted mitochondria, so they're dysfunctional. And of course, the mitochondria is also sensitive to environmental toxins. And thank God, we when those people who look after themselves, they're minimizing this and they stay younger. But there are people who just, bombarding body with toxins all day long, and then they surprised why can't they heal?
Gosh, it makes so much sense that we would need energy to heal. How does that work?
Yes, for example, if I use flex beam device, this is a light generating device. It produces light very similar. It's the same wavelengths as the sunshine. Yeah, the sun shines. Just give you an example, and it gives you all different spectrum: red, green, blue, yellow. It collectively creates white lights. What the scientists found that a certain spectrum of light can have healing property, but of course it's not as weak as sunshine, is a little bit more potent. And then as sunshine shines on these cells, and the cells through evolution learn how to harvest the particles of these lights they call photons. So these processes typically happen in mitochondria. When we use red and near-infrared light, for example, is the most beneficial for healing. You really have two players here. You have the photon of light, and in your body, you have a receptor to bind that photon, yes? And that receptor lives in the mitochondria. So if we have these receptors, we can bind photons and we can then speed the engine of producing energy faster. So you have a lot more ATP molecules which generate energy. So when you have this flex beam or red light therapy device generating red and infrared light, in the area which you shine, you can speed up the motor and make more and more energy for the cells. And as a result, the whole healing is faster. There are some other mechanisms as well. So during this process, your cell bind oxygen better and they release nitric oxide. And nitric oxide, maybe some people don't know, but it's really, really good one because it open up blood supply. So in this shoulder, which you're trying to fix after surgery, A, you give the energy, and B, you open up collaterals and more blood coming here, bringing oxygen, nutrients, all the bricks of the healing of the tissue. And then, of course, you've got the collagen, and this collagen as well becomes much stronger, elastic, and it's just the whole healing like on steroids.
I've got a couple of items for you. One is just an explanation for our listeners. The FlexBeam product, it's different than most red light therapies because it is a portable, flexible, personal wearable red light device. I described my big, stiff, heavy panel. I couldn't transport it to a swim meet or travel with it in my luggage, but the FlexBeam is a wearable device that has more of a high intensity. So you don't need to guess, do I need to be 20 inches away from it or 4 inches away from it? It's all set up. So you just put it on you and you have the right dosage of photobiomodulation. That is what the FlexBeam is. Dr. Frost, have I missed anything in describing it? Because I do have a follow-up question that I think listeners may have in their mind.
Kelly, it's perfect. I just want to add that the panels were discovered accidentally because NASA scientists was working with the panels to create plants in space, and they use red lights. And his hands were there under the lights, and they had ulcers or some skin disease. And that red light suddenly healed his hands very quickly. So these panels are really designed for plants, yes, because plants not moving like we human beings. So we were thinking, well, what if we design something for human body? And if we have constantly immobility, we can use something flexible and we can put it right on the body, right in skin contact. We can wrap it around three-dimensionally, and surely delivery would be better. Because if you're standing too far away from your panel, then you don't have enough of that energy density stimulation. So that was our solution from going from panels into something wearable on the skin.
Yes, that makes perfect sense because I'm never sure should I be closer to the panel or farther away. I happen to be in Florida right now where there's plenty of sunlight. So why can't people just use sunlight?
And I encourage everybody to go outdoor as often as if you can. However, sunlight has the full spectrum, including UV spectrum, which you need to be careful about, yes? Because UV is a very short, very energetic wave. UVB is okay to use, and it is used in medicine to treat psoriasis. But UVC, it's not okay because that could cause skin cancer. So you have to be careful with sunlight to do an overexposure. But I'd say half an hour in a day is actually good. You feel good with this, yes? But like you in Florida, what about our team in Norway? Where right now is a true lack of sunlight. And to be honest, not everybody has the opportunity to be outdoor. And we have office hours and we have to rush go home. Really, the solution is to have some useful and safe spectrum of light at home. So you can use it when you can't see sunlight. And some people live in cities where they don't even see the sun because they're this, buildings blocking their view. And this is unhealthy.
Okay. And I don't like the UV part of the sun. I tend to get burned. So that is great. That's great to hear. Is it like ice where you can use it multiple times a day for 20 minutes, or is it 3 times a week, or what would the dosage be?
It's all come from the goal. What is your goal? Yes. So the number one, like if you just had an injury, it's very fresh, it's there, it's a big shock for the body. Then you can use lights on the injury or around the injury. It really depend on what you're dealing with. But you could do it 2 times a day or 3 times a day, but short. It's Flex Beam always designed to produce always 10-minute stimulation. The dose, which is quite important aspect of a light therapy, is programmed in these 10 minutes. So you could do from 10 minutes a couple of times a day or 3 times a day, yes? However, if your injury already became very chronic and it's been there with body a long time, it actually impact the whole body dynamics. Yes, the posture, you start developing compensation with it. So then you need to use flex beam where you experience pain, 10 minutes, but also then include some other areas. Like if you have right side, the bottom of your body affected by pain, then you need probably the other side top to see the compensational pattern and then apply. There will be about 30 minutes a day. And then there is another application. Like if you don't have any of this injury, you recovered, you're all perfect, but you want to maintain your wellness. So this one you can use, for example, before you go into the gym, you can use half an hour on muscles which are going to be engaged. Prepare yourself and you perform much better. Yes. Or if you do swimming competitions, I have the suggestion to use over the muscles, the key muscles, which gonna be engaged. Yes. So obviously the upper back, obviously the quads, big bulk of muscles, and just stimulate with light. Will prepare the body and give cells energy. So depending on the goal, we give people the possibility to explore the device and even create the routine. Some people use it routinely every day. You can use it every single day.
Very nice. I would love for you to talk a little bit about the neurobiomodulation, like sound, if we want to use that as part of our healing.
Oh, absolutely. In my clinic, I work with patients and I use all modalities almost at once. Yes, unless, of course, if somebody has really presented with very specific issue, I'll focus on that. With neurostimulation, it's really, really good on pain, like to actually reduce pain level because you stimulate the nerve, you send a message to the brain and say, hey, I've got this issue. And the clever brain would say, okay, I need to release endorphins because it really hurts. Yes. So your endorphins much, much better in quality and they don't make you go dopey like synthetic narcotics. Yes. And they release in such atomic qualities in the body. So they literally just counteract that pain. Well, I would combine with this. I would definitely use sound therapy. I use recorded tracks, which actually I took part in this project to 432 hertz music, if you haven't heard of this. But it's a nice sort of tunes, more like relaxation sort of music. And then we did EEG, and we looked that brain becomes much more relaxed, but also the delta waves associated with healing was really getting high during the drug. So now I know for sure if you combine with the sound healing as well. Then you heard of this, the big crystal balls. Yes, they produce this resonant healing. So the whole body is vibrates. It's also very potent. And I would say throw everything. Nutrition is very important, exercise very important, and a good sleep. Good sleep is so super important in healing. So if you're unable to sleep, you need to work on stress management and get yourself to the point when you can sleep.
Oh, I think that's powerful. So 432 hertz music. I think my husband listens to that. And the delta waves, the singing bowls or the crystal bowls. I love that. I have a tiny little crystal singing bowl. And when I use that, the sound and the vibration of it does just make me feel so calm and helps me sleep. It's really wonderful. What are you seeing that most people come to you with, and how do we avoid these problems that you commonly see?
Of course, first, of course, you need to invest in fixing your problem. And to do this, you need to know the core, where it's coming from, what actually happened. Because in the many scenarios, in the many scenarios, what I see, people come and the pain could be referred pain. Very often people come with shoulder pain, but the cause is in the neck. So as a practitioner, I would palpate, I would find where the tension, when there is a skew, what is the body mechanics. I need to assess it all. And if you don't sleep, for example, I need to understand why you don't sleep. Is it not enough melatonin in your body? Or you in stress release too much cortisol? Yes, and then you can regulate again through light therapy. It's actually quite useful because you can induce melatonin production by stimulating with red lights. And you, in the past, it was believed that you need to look at red light, but now we know that even by places on the body, you can improve your melatonin level. You can self-regulate that melatonin. What I'm trying to say, once you fix your problem and you want to stay well, you need to do a regime. It contains many things. Number one, I would say go to bed in the same time and wake up in the same time. It's important for your circadian rhythm. When you wake up, don't jump immediately. Oh, I have so much to do. Yes. I literally do this mental exercise. I think what is the most important thing I want to achieve today. And whilst in this kind of semi-meditative state, I put the flex beam on my chest because, the heart is here, or on my stomach. One thing I didn't tell you today is that when you stimulate with lights, we have studies now to say that it improves gut microbiome, red light specifically. So I would normally put over the heart and stomach, and it takes 10 minutes, and then I stretch. So stretching is very important because you prepare the spine, stretch, and then you get up with all the gravity. Suddenly the whole body becomes. But if you stretched enough, then you become much more aligned and ready for the day. And then when you do the whole as a routine, make sure you exercise. This is like absolutely must for everyone. Even if you're super busy, make 10 minutes. Get up, stretch, get up and do deep breathing. But exercise, even small exercise, even 10 minutes, you quickly go around the block. You come back, it's different person. So I know everybody is busy nowadays. I know we have overload with information, but if you create this little routine for yourself, then you would be much more organized, less stressed.
Actually, you mentioned the gut microbiome and how red light can affect that. Before we go to the very last question, so you actually put the flex beam on your stomach for 10 minutes? And is the flex beam all one dose, or can you change the settings?
Yes. And you can put either like horizontally across the navel or vertically. There are 3 programs, and each program is designed at what level you want to make impact. Like you're talking about at the beginning about the skin issues. Yes. So the program 1 would address skin issues. Program 2 is a little bit deeper. So joints, small joints like Achilles the tendon or something like this would be good for program 2. And also this stomach or the liver, you could do it as well in program 2. And program 3 produces really deep penetration stimulation. Is really concentrated, very, very good with muscles, deep joints. So I would use 3 if I want to prepare for swimming competitions or really some big events. I would just do all my key muscles on 3. I want to really deeply to induce that blood flow, to induce energy.
So 3 settings. What about the face? Can we use this on the face?
Yes, absolutely. Everyone who's got flex beam asking me this question, saying, "Well, it's so good for my body. Can I use it on the face?" Yes, you can. Um, Normally, we use program 1 because you want to affect the collagen and you want to affect the state of your collagen in the face. Yes, so program 1. But don't forget, our device is super, super potent. It's like your panel, the panel in this. Imagine it's that potent, and it's on the body in the close contact. Yes. So for the face, we normally do it at about reading book distance. Yeah, but I also want you to cover eyes. It comes with a little goggles for this situation. Why? Because again, light is really potent. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do want to explain to those listening and not looking, because we are on an audio here. You were holding that flex beam up about 12 inches from your face and saying to use goggles. And I know there's been some research on macular degeneration. Can you use this for treating macular degeneration?
The light should be less potent than ours in flex beam. I found online, it's a British company, they do goggles, and they have dedicated strengths of light for macular degeneration. For flex beam, it's more on body, recovery, and I just think it's a little bit too strong for the eyes.
Okay, that makes sense. And that's what most of us are looking for, is muscle recovery. I know I am. So is there anything that we have not talked about that you wanted to share before we close?
I just want to say, we came to this new age. We really have to take control of our health. We have to empower ourselves. We have to be proactive in our health. We shouldn't sit and wait, okay, when arthritis is going to hit me, right? We should do everything we can, preserve this beautiful body so it can blossom and function. So even if you're 60, 70, and 80, you still climbing the Everest and live full quality of life. So there are some tools you can use for that.
Yes, then yes. And it's so refreshing to have tools that aren't pharmaceutical or medical or that have side effects. You really are doing great things in the world, Dr. Frost, and we appreciate you spending this time with us today and wishing you all the best. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Kelly.
We appreciate you listening to Champions Mojo. If you follow us on Apple, you'll never miss an episode. If you want Kelly's takeaways from this episode, check out her blog at championsmojo.com. Thank you.